Okay, I'm back. Zulu is here, and I'll continue this story, Monster by Blackwing. And this is Nightshades Nightmare Night. Okay, so for you who don't know this, obviously you know because if you didn't listen, if you listen to this, you are probably a brony just like me. But for you others who aren't, this is equivalent of Halloween. So yeah, there we go. But I start this. Nightshade's Nightmare Night. As Nightshade slept, he found that Lyra wasn't there yet. He had let his mind wander. He refused to let Lyra in his mind while he was awake, because then she would see where he was. Not that what was in mind. I might figure out that he was in Equestria. Then he wouldn't be able to escape from her questions awake or asleep. Not having that familiar presence knocking on the door to his mind was slightly unwavering, though. Then again, he has gone to sleep at the same time as his new daughter, which was rather early. Peekaboo, Lyra said when she popped up in his head. You're here early. I had long 3 days. I have been kind of building a house in the woods where I'm living. He replied, actually, it's more of a cabin. Can I see it? How can I do about that thing? He inquired. Well, somehow, whenever my dreams aren't about humans, I often can change what I want them to be, simply by picturing it. She said, know it all tone of a commonly used by teacher. Beside, floating around in this void is rather dull. All right, I try. Straining a little bit, the cabin popped up in front of them. Nightshade remembered to remove Scully from the image before inviting Lyra inside, because that would be a dead giveaway. Looking around for a bit, Lyra didn't seem to be too fond of the rustic feel. I cringed slightly. Seeing this, he made an image disappear and brought a new one, an apartment building, somewhat modern, with a new style elevator and everything. My old house, from before when I went on a run, he said. It's huge! Lyra's eyes popped out. You live in this by all yourself? No, 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 no. At least 100 humans lived, or lived here. We each got our own rooms. Nightshade spent the night remembering things, letting Lyra experience them with him. The elevator confused her. The doors closed, and when they opened, they were someone completely different. She also noted how he used his hand for various things. Finally understood how they should be used. She became practically fond of playing Crash Team Racing, even though with whose she couldn't grip the controller very well. Dang it, I lost again, she said. Well, that's because you don't have thumbs, he mocked. Waking up the next morning before Skudlu, he went to got her breakfast ready. And with an almost complete knowledge of the forest plants, thanks to Segura, he could uh, have a proper meals instead of 10 kinds of fish medley. He was seriously getting sick of fish, and this was a nice change of pace. The orange Pegasus got up and wished her new dad good morning, ate breakfast, and headed off to school. Since she couldn't fly it, she got walked to the edge of the forest by her dad, who noticed that she was a lot happier than she had been before. She had been absent for a couple of days, so her teacher were a little worried. Just spending some time with my new dad, she said proudly. You got adopted? That's wonderful to hear, Scootaloo. You must be happy. Shirley was always like to see her students happy. It was the reason she became a teacher in the first place. So when do we get to meet him? The teacher asked. The orange Pegasus tuned a little pen. Oh crud! Now what would I do? I could tell him I'm living with a force monster. Um, she thought. Everyone was waiting for her reply. I'm not sure. I have to ask him. He's living in the Everfree Forest, where she studies the plants and trees, and some of the animals too. He's been helping Sakura gather plants and stuff for her potions. It wasn't exactly a lie, but it wasn't the truth either. Studying meant learning the best to fight or run away from them. And came from experience, not note taking. He he looks a little scary until you get to know him, but he's super nice, and he likes to avoid top because he's shy. He's so he's scared of every pony will freak out when they see him, kind of like Sakura a while back. I understand. It's hard to fit in when you are different. I'd rather having sorry. It's hard to fit in when you're different. And he'd rather take his time to make a good impression on the first time around, said the teacher knowingly. Later, at the praise, Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle found her and couldn't wait to get her details. Yeah, I was kinda nervous about asking him, but he adopted me right away. He even told me to call him Dad. And tomorrow he's going to start teaching me to fly and how to deal with forest plants and animals. He had even more awesome than Rainbow Dash. More awesome than who? Came a cocky voice from the clouds. The sign Pegasus floated out. No pony's cooler than me. Yeah, you're right, Rainbow. No pony is more awesome than you, said Scootaloo, disheveled. That's right. Now I'm going back to my nap. See you later, Squirt, she said, the red rainbow maned mare. Sorry. Still, the orange said had bothered her. How can there be some pony more awesome than me? There's no way. Is there? Yeah, no pony. The three Phyllis giggled. The laughter stopped when Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon walked up. Well, you're in good mood, blank flanks. So is your freak of a father, Tiara sneered. He's in the forest doing his job, and he's not a freak. He's just shy, it's all. Mind your own business. You're just spoiled brats anyway. Scootley, who was normally just sit back and take the abuse, not caring for what others said about her, couldn't help herself when they insulted one of her who had given her so much. Somewhat shocked, as they had never been so openly insulted, Diamond Tiara decided to leave. Later, blank flanks, they teased. Don't mind them, Skulu. They don't know what they are talking about. So, when do we get to see your house? The unicorn squeaked. Not sure. I have to ask Dad when you can come over. That way you can get some food ready, she said. Months passed without incidents. Almost a year, things carrying on as they were before, with periodic visits from her friends. She still went about her crusading, taking some hints from her dad. During the day, Nightshade would bring Skudlu to the edge of the forest, making sure to keep himself hidden. Of course, when they go about their business, getting food, maintaining their home, and working for Zikora, she would be able to make many more potions than normal, because with him as her assistant, she could brew potions without having to go out and gather ingredients. And many of her concoction required a watchful eye. But at the end of the school day, he would wait at the edge of the forest, collect her daughter, and bring her home to teach her about the forest and train her. Over the time, Skulu began to grow. She became bigger, and her wings were a lot stronger now. She learned how to climb up trees without flying, using her natural agility and her wings to give her the thrust and grip she needed to run right up the trunks, and could now glide safely to the ground as well. It was the weekend, so she didn't have school. Now was the time for her to learn proper flying. Alright, just like we practiced before, jump up using your wings for extra lift and start flapping them as much as you can. Remember how to use your tail for balance. That way you won't flip over like the last time. There you go, there you go, there you're doing it! Nightshade was so proud. He's finally giving Skulu the one thing that she wanted more than anything, the gift of flight. Though, although she earned it just as much as it was giving. She flew around the clearing for a bit and then landed with a thud. Don't worry, we work on the landing next. The pair collapsed in a heap of laughter and went back to the house for some food. Being sore from having flown for so long when she wasn't used to it, Nightshade told her that was the one pain that he wouldn't take away. It meant that she's becoming stronger and that she would be a better flyer. Come on, my little bumpy, let's get some eat. Scooter blushed at the nickname, remembering what he had told her. Yeah, a year when they first met. How insecure she had been, and how her confidence and skills had grown since. They went inside to get lunch. Once it was night, she asked another difficult question. Hey Dad, you know that how Nightmare Night is coming up, right? Scootley said, a little afraid to being turned down. And you want me to come this year, don't you? He answered her question before she was asking it. You can stop reading my mind, you know, she said sarcastically. Will you come? Well, I don't want to get noticed, so I follow in the shadows. I wouldn't stick out so much. If I get caught, I can just say it's a costume. If that doesn't work, well, can't stay secret forever, can I? At least I get found out eventually. Might as well take some risk. Besides, it's Nightmare Night. There will be plenty of monsters in the street. Might just lessen the fright, he said knowingly. Oh, by the way, I can't read your mind. I just know you too well. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. She hadn't been this happy since he agreed to adopt her. Something in his guts told him this would be a bad idea, but he couldn't say no to that face. Looks like he wasn't immune to the puppy dog eyes after all. Nightmare Night came, and true to his word, he was there, hiding in the darkness. No pony noticed him, except for the CMC, mostly because they all were too busy getting candy and dealing with Pinkie Pie's insane antics. Occasionally, the Crusaders would look in the dark corner to see a bit of black-headed coat floating in the wind. They knew that he was watching, and he'd just smile. That's when he saw that a sight that made his blood boil. A griffin stealing candy from kids. No, it's better I don't get involved. Some guards will deal with this when they get here. I know it's wrong, but it's nothing worth giving myself away. Then he saw Skulu, right in the path of the griffin. Well, look what we got here, said the griffin. Nightshade recognized the voice was a female. Gilda? The crusader shrugged. Yeah, I'm back. I'm not happy, she said, stepping towards the trio. Because you are too much of a wimp to fly. Now I'm a wanted criminal. I've been on the run for the past year and a half because of you. And now I'm going to take it out on your hide. That was all he needed to hear. The griffin threatening Skulu was the very same as the one who threw her into the forest almost a year ago. If he hadn't come along, she would have died. Gilla raised her sharp talons, and the three froze in fear. As she was bringing her claw down upon the poor filly, she toppled over, and Skulu saw the most amazing thing she ever could have seen. Her dad, the one being in the world who she loved more than Rainbow Dash, had buried his fist right into the side of Griffin's face, sending her skidding across the ground. What the hell? Said the Griffin, as she stood up and got her bearings, spotting the black-coated figure that was even taller than her. She walked back up to it. You do that? No answer. I said, were you the one who did that? Still silent. The hooded figure nodded. Not furious, the enraged griffin stood on her back legs and let out a hard screech, blowing the hood right off his head. The face that she saw made her blood run cold. This was not a face covered by fear. It was a face covered by a wicked grin and a hint of murder in its eyes. Boo, said the no longer hooded creature with a voice so sinister she could swear she could hear hatred dripping off his tongue. Gilda recoiled, but not the one to be scared of. She began to swing wildly at the imposing figure. Gil was a bully, however, not a real fighter, so only one had brute force. She had no skill whatsoever. Nightshade easily dodged every attack, weaving between the slashing claws with unheard grace. As Gilda became even angrier. Why can't I hit you? She huffed. Just as she thought she finally had got him, she found her claw had been stopped by the creature's hand, and her strength began to trail from her. What are you doing? Now then exhausted, the griffin demanded, trying to catch her breath. I'm your worst nightmare, he said with the same sinister voice, before slamming his fist into her jaw again, hearing a steadfying snap of breaking bone. Gilla slumped into the ground, unconscious. He had really wanted to kill the griffin, but Skudlow was watching. He couldn't subject to that. That and since the crime was most know existent. He figured that the punishment would be much worse than he would do, and a broken jaw was enough. He turned and saw the growing crowd of ponies and jerked his head slightly in Scudler's direction. They had already gone over the plan that if something went wrong, she would sleep in the Crusaders' clubhouse till things blew over. That was her cue to get out of there. Then he heard a shout. "It's a monster! It got Gilda! And we are next! Run!" Pinkie Pie. He had been told to avoid her at all possibility. Considering what happened last year with the Princess Luna, well, it could have been worse. Just as he turned to his back towards the forest, a lavender unicorn, a rainbow pegasus, and an orange earth pony all showed up, all in costume. Despite their disguise, he recognized the orange as Applejack, Apple Bloom's sister, and the one from his extremely painful encounter the previous year, which he had neglected no to mention to the yellow earth pony. It made him feel sore just thinking about it. Flying down from above, he saw her, the princess of the night herself, Luna, along with several of her bat-winged guards. Apparently, they had come to deal with Gilda themselves, the three because they had personal problem, and Luna because not only was she a wanted criminal, because she but also because she was ruining her holiday. When they found the culprit lying on the ground, a strange creature wearing a tattered blood-stained cloak, they decided the criminal Griffin was the least of their worries. Now Nightshade had heard from the Crusaders and Segura about the princesses, and how long they lived and how powerful they were. Standing in front of one was a completely different story. Looking at Luna, it was like a moon wasn't in the sky overhead, but right next to him. Her life force was massive. She absolutely radiated it. It was insane how one living thing could have so much life energy and not having the ground spring into life in grass and flowers whenever she walked. This was no time to be admiring, however, as she was glaring at him angrily, and judged by her vitality, she was a force to be reckoned with. So, here he had a unicorn with unknown ability, a determined looking Pegasus, and an earth pony who would already had a painful experience with, and a freaking goddess among her four guards. Needless to say, he ran his ass off. "You four stay here and strain the Griffin," Luna mentioned to the guards. Since last year's, Luna had obviously learned to speak more plainly, as though no longer using old equestrian or the royal Canterlot voice. "Twilight, Applejack, Rainbow Dash, you're with me. We have a monster to catch." "Oh yeah, Nightshade, you have a run for your life." Okay, listeners, I'm done over here by reading, and I'll cut it short over here. So see you next time.